Hello everyone, my name is Prajakta Thake. I am from Department of Zoology, KTHM College, Nashik. So today I will be taking a class for SYBSc Semester 1. Subject is Animal Diversity 3, which is paper 1. Chapter that we are dealing with right now is Study of Scoliodon, and this is the 5th lecture of the chapter. Today what we are going to see is respiratory system of the Scoliodon. Okay, let's begin. Now, Scoliodon is an aquatic animal who is adapted to respire in water. They get dissolved oxygen from water by specialized vascular organs known as gills, which are borne by gill pouches located on either side of the pharynx. The respiratory system comprises of respiratory tract and respiratory organs. So we have already seen the presence of gill slits, or these slits are nothing but the openings to the gills, right? Now let's see what all things are present in the respiratory tract. It consists of mouth, buccal cavity and pharynx. Ventrally situated mouth opens into the buccal cavity, okay, which posteriorly continues as pharynx. Thus, the water from the mouth travels the path through the buccal cavity, then pharynx, and later reaching the gills. Okay, so you can see over here, this is the mouth over here, then you have a buccal cavity present, and this area is going to be the pharyngeal, or pharynx is going to be over here. Okay, now let's see the respiratory organs. Okay, I have already mentioned that there are 5 pairs of gill pouches. Okay, if you see here, these are gill pouches. This is on one side, this first pouch, second, third, fourth and fifth pouch on one side. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 and fifth pouch on the other side. So in total there are 5 pair of gill pouches present. The gill pouches, if you see, are situated in the lateral walls of the pharynx. So this is the pharynx, and the lateral walls of the pharynx are going to bear the gill pouches, which we have already seen when we were studying about the external characters of Scoliodon, and are arranged in series on either side. If you see here, they are arranged in the series. Okay, now if you see here, each gill pouch is going to communicate with the pharyngeal cavity by large internal branchial aperture. Okay, so and open to outside by exterior gill slits. So this is internal branchial aperture, this is internal branchial aperture over here, and this is exterior gill slits. Okay, now a fibromuscular partition called interbranchial septum or gill septum is going to separate the adjacent gill pouches. Okay, if you see here, interbranchial septum, this particular structure, if you see this one, please see the arrow that I am showing, this one, and these are nothing but the interbranchial septum. So this particular septum is separating the 2 gill pouches. So this gill pouch will be separated from this gill pouch by means of the interbranchial septum. Clear? Now each of the gill septum is supported by cartilaginous visceral arch. Okay, so on either side of the interbranchial septum or gill septum lies a series of horizontal leaf-like folds called as branchial or gill lamellae. If you see here, this particular region over here, 1, 2, these particular region are nothing but the gill lamellae, right? These are the gill lamellae. Okay, so this is basically the what do you say, these. Now one set of the gill lamellae is located on the anterior face of the septum. So if you see, let's consider this particular, this is half, let's consider this full one. Okay, please follow the arrow. Now this is the gill septum. Okay, and this forms its anterior face and this forms its posterior face. Okay, so one set of gill lamellae will be located on either side of the interbranchial septum. So this is interbranchial septum. On anterior side or anterior face also you have gill lamellae, and on the posterior side also you have a gill lamellae present. These are highly vascularized, these gill lamellae are highly vascularized structure which are richly supplied with blood capillaries and have very thin membrane that facilitates the gaseous exchange. Each set that lie on one side is referred to as half gill, and it is called as demi-branch or hemi-branch. If you see only this half portion, okay, this will be referred to as the demi-branch or hemi-branch. Why? Because the two sets, this is referred to as complete one. Why? Because it has gill lamellae on both the side. When it is half, right, when only one side of the septum is going to bear the gill lamellae, it will be referred to as the half or hemi-branch or demi-branch, right? So this one is a hemi-branch or demi-branch because only one side of it is going to contain the gill lamellae. But when you see this particular one, it is a hollow branch, right? Or say a complete gill, right? Why it is called as complete gill? Because on both the sets on either side will be present. Okay, this will contain both the sets on either side. So both the side of the septum are going to contain the gill lamellae, and this, because of this, it is known as a hollow branch or the complete gill. The first four gill arches bear hollow branches, whereas the last one is gill-less, right? The first four gill arches bear hollow branches, whereas last one is gill-less. If you see here, 1, 2, 3 and 4, these are complete, right? And this fifth one, this does not contain any kind of gill lamellae present on it. Thus, there are total 4 hollow branches and only one hemibranch in Scoliodon. The first gill pouch lies between the hyoid and the first branchial arch, and the last one is present between the 4th and 5th branchial arches, right? So this is the first gill pouch and this is the last gill pouch. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, last one, right? Now let's see the mechanism of respiration. Now during the respiration, the floor of the buccal cavity is lowered by contraction of its hypobranchial muscle and the mouth is opened. Okay, so once the mouth opens, now as the mouth opens, the water is going to rush. Now as the mouth opens, what is going to happen is the water is going to come inside, okay, and fills the greatly expanded buccal cavity. So now once the water enters through the mouth and it is going to enter into the buccal cavity and it is totally going to fill the buccal cavity. Now the pharyngeal cavity is also enlarged by expansion of gill arches, while the external gill slits remain closed. Now once the water enters in, what will happen, these external gills, here it is not shown, but on this side you can see the external branchial flaps. These flaps are going to remain closed, these are going to get closed. Clear? Why? Because the exit of water should not be possible. On both the sides the flaps are present, and here also the flaps are present, but it is not shown over here for your understanding of certain say structure. The flaps are shown only on one side, but they are present on both the sides. Clear? So these flaps that are there, they are going to become closed once the water enters inside. Now the bucopharyngeal floor is raised and the mouth is closed, right? Contraction of the pharyngeal wall occurs. This causes the water to rush into the interbranchial apertures. The water is going to rush in over here, the water is going to rush in over here. In these areas the water is going to rush in, right? Once this water rushes in over here, it is in close association with the gill lamellae. If you see here, once the water is going to enter here, it is going to be in close association with gill lamellae. Now water goes out through the external branchial aperture. At this time the esophagus is closed, right? So what will happen, the water is going to enter over here, bath these gill lamellae, and from here after this flaps will open, and through these flaps the water is going to move outside. The flow of the blood in branchial lamellae and water current is opposite, so that the blood come in contact with high concentration of dissolved oxygen and low concentration of carbon dioxide. So now what happens over here is, when the water is entering inside, this particular water is going to contain large amount of oxygen, right? So when it is moving over here the gills which are much closer to this, large amount of oxygen is going to be available to this particular area. Okay, and then the efficient exchange of gases takes place between the blood and the water. So whatever water is over here and the lamellae that have blood vessels, between them the water exchange, gaseous exchange is going to occur. The oxygen is taken in blood by endosmosis, and CO2 passes into water by exosmosis. So when the water is flowing from here, the oxygen will be taken in and CO2 is going to move out. The spiracles are occasionally used as accessory pathways for the entry of water for respiration. So this is all about the respiratory system of Scoliodon. So what we have learned today is the structures or organs that are associated with the respiratory system and the mechanism of respiration in Scoliodon. And this is all for today. Thank you so much.